What's happening, guys? So we're gonna wait for folks to hop on. This is the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast, and I've got my instructor, Sifu Dwight Woods, right here. So it's gonna be really exciting to dive into some of the questions that you guys have and some of the questions that you've asked already. So, oh, look at that. Hey, comment where you're from, say hi, give us a like button. And we're going to go ahead and get started in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and share this in the I Love Jeet Kune group as well. So if you're on here, there's 3 people on here, 1 to 3 people on here. Go ahead, share this already, share the stream, and we'll get rolling in just a second. All right. So where are you guys from? Where are you guys from? Comment in here where you guys are from. Let's see if we can get maybe you guys are in Miami. That would be pretty sweet too. All right. All right, sharing this in the group.
I'm gonna turn that camera a little bit.
Cool. Whoop, boost. Awesome. All right. All right, guys, so welcome to the broadcast. We've got people hopping on. Make sure you're sharing the stream, liking, giving us comments, as much engagement as possible. We really want to get the word of Jeet Kune spread to as many people as possible. So make sure you're hitting the like button, pounding the hearts, and sharing this out. So again, just as another quick intro, I'm here with my instructor, Sifu Dwight Woods from Miami, Florida, from Unified Martial Art Academy, unifiedmartialart.com, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got a few questions that people had submitted already, and I want to kind of drill them a little bit on that. But so if you've got questions now, make sure you type them in. And so, hey, thanks for the like. Keep on pounding those likes as much as possible, please. So we're just gonna go ahead and dive right in. But before we do, Sifu, for some of the people who haven't seen your like millions of views on YouTube and stuff, if you haven't seen him, he's the dude doing all the really cool Jeet Kune stuff on YouTube. Type in Jeet Kune and he'll probably pop up as on the first page.
We hope.
We hope, right? So, Sifu, what's...
the thing is, there's a ton more videos. I probably have about, I don't even know how many hours more of video that we've never put up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we record almost every week, right? But I just don't have the time yet, you know?
Yeah.
But anyhow,
let me know if you guys would actually want to see all these videos. I'm trying to get him to throw all these hundreds of videos into our Jeet Kune group. He's always there. He's part of it. You know what I mean? Hey, thanks for joining, Josh.
I will do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of scheduling everything. But I promise you,
it's gonna get in there.
I'm promising live.
It's going
on the Facebook. I'll do it. Okay.
Sweet. So, how did you actually get involved in Jeet Kune? I mean, was it something that you stumbled into just after training other martial arts, or was it something you went straight into?
It all started with kung fu movies out of Hong Kong. So, as a kid growing up in Barbados, if I remember correctly, we had 3 cinemas that showed double kung fu features.
That's pretty cool.
Every couple of weeks.
They don't have that now.
No. Every couple of weeks, we had 6 new kung fu films, right? So, like everybody else, of school age, we really got into that. And so we would fight each other based on the techniques that we saw in the kung fu.
Where was it? Was this in Trinidad?
This is in Barbados.
In Barbados,
yeah,
gotcha.
This is in Barbados.
So Sifu's originally from Trinidad, right? And then moved to the neighboring island of Barbados.
Born in Trinidad, never lived there, grew up in Barbados, and
Nice.
then moved to Miami 30 years ago.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
you know what's significant about this week? 34 years ago, this very week, the week of Monday, July 25th till today, is when I started training with Dan Asano.
Oh, wow.
30, yeah. I met
30
him.
some years ago.
34 years ago.
34 years ago. Pound the likes if you want to get more info like that. Get the inside scoop on Sigun Dan.
Yeah, 34 years ago, I met him on his birthday, Sunday, July 24th.
Wow.
And then we started training Monday, July 25th. So
did you commute back and forth? How did that work? If you were originally from Barbados or...
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the origin story.
Yeah.
Let's call it, right.
It's an awesome story. It's an awesome story. I was blown away.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
So we're watching all these kung fu films and what have you, and then one day Bruce Lee shows up on screen, right? And to be honest, I looked at him and I go, this guy is good. but he wasn't as fancy as like the Shaolin, you know, the Shaolin guys and what have you. So, but I was quite taken with him, and then I started looking more at his stuff, and that was the first sacrifice that I had to make, was to give up the traditional kung fu. The problem is, in Barbados in the 70s, there's no Jeet Kune schools. I mean, look, in the United States in 1970, Jeet Kune could only be found, you could say, in Los Angeles. Yeah. Right. So anyhow, I start trying to find all the books that I can about Bruce Lee and what have you, and that's how I started. Right. Right. So I self-trained for almost 10 years, maybe even more than 10 years. But then in '83, went out to California.
And that's when you made your.
That's when I found this. It was called California Martial Arts Academy, right? So they were having a camp, like a 4-week, 6-week camp or whatever, and I signed up to spend 1 week with Dan Inosanto and 1 week with Francis Fong.
Oh wow!
Right, now here's the thing. See.
Share if you know who Dan Inosanto and Sifu Francis Fong are.
Yeah. Dan Inosanto was on. When we get more polished at doing this, I'll bring all the stuff. Actually, it is probably somewhere. If you go to Facebook, if you go to my page, or if you remind me, I can check and see if it's on the Unified Martial Art page. It's when I started with him. Mm-hmm. He was on the roster for that camp as teaching Filipino Kali, not teaching Jeet Kune Do.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. And so I opted to train with him. Why? Because I knew from everything I had read that Dan Inosanto was the guy. Yeah. So it didn't matter to me what he was teaching. I wanted to meet Bruce Lee's premier disciple. Right. So I wanted to train whatever he was doing, and then I knew that Bruce Lee had trained Wing Chun. So I was going to train a week with Francis Fong. Now I was going to go back home to Barbados and show my guys what I learned. Yeah. Right? And, work it out for myself. Because I knew that Bruce Lee had worked out stuff for himself also. Right. Right? So I was going to do the same thing.
Following the path.
Yeah, but I got bitten by the bug.
Which bug? Which bug?
I got bitten by the Jeet Kune Do bug.
The JKD bug, guys. Smash the like button if you've been hit by that same JKD button.
So then I just took advantage of my job in the airlines. Yeah. And then I would travel as much as I could. Now when I tell people that, they go, "Oh, so it was easy for you?" No, it wasn't easy. I had a job. Yeah. You have to work. Yeah. Right? Just because you get flying privileges doesn't mean that you're.
You can just take off and go whenever.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. But one of the things I did do regarding the job, in the early days, you had like a fixed days on and fixed days off. My days off at one point were Thursday and Friday, right? Okay. And you were supposed to work 3 morning shifts, 2 evening shifts, and then you have your days off. So I'm supposed to work. I'm off Thursday and Friday. So I'm supposed to work Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Monday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday night. Right. Not Dwight Woods. Right. I flipped the whole thing.
Not Dwight Woods.
Right. No. I went to work Saturday night, Sunday night, and then I went from Sunday night shift to Monday morning shift. Ask me why.
Why?
Martial art.
Martial art.
Right? I could train Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, train all day Thursday and Friday, train Saturday morning and Sunday morning.
That's a lot.
I was a teenager.
That's awesome.
Right? Yeah, so that's why I tell people that's why I have no social skills, because my formative years were spent in a job that I loved with Eastern Airlines and training martial art. Yeah. Everybody else was out partying and what have you, and
it wasn't your deal.
I was kicking and punching and swinging stick, man.
That's funny. So, you know, what was one of the things that really made, I mean, obviously you read all the stuff about Dan Inosanto and whatnot, but what made you keep coming back? Because it's not like you just did this commute once or anything, right?
No.
Like you were going
At one point,
all the time.
Yeah, at one point,
You probably attended more, and you're from Barbados, than most people did, and they're in their own city.
it's possible. I estimate. I don't remember because it was so long ago, but I think at one point I was.
It is the master list. Yeah, it's awesome.
I was probably getting to LA every other month.
Wow.
Or so, right? It was cool. Let me tell you, it was the best. It was the best thing in my life at the time because I would fly in.
That's cool.
You know, maybe late at night.
Right.
I'd fly in late at night, and then he would come pick me up the following morning.
So he would pick you up.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Right. And back in those days. His wife Simo Paula Inosanto, she was like constant companion. So they would come pick me up at the hotel, and we would drive over to Carson, where he taught Tuesday morning class at the IMB Academy. So I would get to train there.
That's awesome.
Right? Then we would leave there and we would go to Harbor College, where
wow.
he taught a self-defense thing to college students. So I'd get to assist there, right? Then we'd go to lunch, and then they would drop me off at the Inosanto Academy, and they would go run errands and what have you. So I'd be at the academy by myself.
Training?
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
Pull out a cot. You can sleep there.
Right? No. But, you know, there was a time where
smash the like button if you want to go sleep at the Inosanto Academy.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's allowed now. But back in the '80s, the nickname that I had for it was the Inosanto Academy of Martial Arts and International Youth Hostel, right?
Yeah.
Because at one point I was there. There were some kids from Australia. There were kids from Germany. You know, the people from Japan. I mean, literally, people from all over the world would be there. And some of them, my understanding is that they would have saved up in order to fly to LA.
Yeah.
But they might not have money for
They're
accommodation.
there, yeah.
Right? And I don't even know if Sifu Dan charged them for classes while they were there.
Yeah.
You know? Right?
That's impressive.
So the Inosanto International Youth Hostel.
Wow.
That's what it was.
Did you? Because I know you're big with Kali. We may get some crazy people on here who don't like Kali because they think it's not part of JKD or anything. But
oh really?
What are your thoughts on that? I know we may get a little some attention.
So,
share this if you love Kali.
So back in the day, the detractors would point to a paragraph in Sifu Dan's Jeet Kune book where he admits that when he first showed Eskrima to Bruce Lee, that he took a dim view of it, right? But what he did, but then at some later point,
right.
I think it was double stick, and Bruce Lee was showing what he would do. And Inosanto says, well, that's Largo Mano. He goes, I don't know what you call it, but this is how I would do it, right? So if you learn to read between the lines of the paragraph, what Bruce Lee is saying is that Largo Mano would be his preferred approach, with stick fighting, right? Now, anybody who says, oh no, Kali or Eskrima has nothing to do with JKD, is, in my opinion, is not somebody who's like deep into it, because even if you just stay on the surface, Bruce Lee was known affectionately as the king of the nunchaku.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
And that came from where?
Oh, the movies, yeah.
Right.
Well,
but
from Inosanto, of course.
Exactly,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So he learned what we call in Kali the tabok tuyok or the olisi toyok, right? But, the Filipino terms have never been popularized, so everybody knows it as nunchaku or nunchucks or whatever it is. But that's Filipino martial art right there, right? Used in Fist of Fury, used in Game of Death, used in Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, right?
Everyone.
It's all right.
I think there was a movie where he used the Kali sticks.
Yeah, in Enter the Dragon, in the dungeon scene.
Yes.
See, so here's my analysis, right? Here's my analysis of that fight scene, right? If you watch what he starts out and he's just going simultaneous parry and hit every time, right? It's bang, 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 bang.
Right.
But then he realizes there's too many damn people, right? So he runs and gets an equalizer. The staff,
right?
The 6-foot staff, right?
Yeah.
Well, Bankauer, the Seabot, right? But then I think after using that, he realizes it's too long for the confined quarters in which he's fighting.
Exactly.
So he drops that and picks up the double stick, right? Because now he can be mobile and he can move faster.
Bang, bang, bang.
But then ultimately, right? He one guy, his nunchaku wraps around the single stick, and then he just goes pop, 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 and then that, that's it.
Do you think that was kind of his? It almost sounds like that was like his introduction to show why Kali is so useful and why the double sticks are so useful. I mean, if he went from staff and said, "Okay, let's not use that," and I mean, I don't remember the full movie exactly, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think what he was showing, because there are always messages in Bruce Lee's films, right?
Right.
There's always messages. I think in that instance, he was showing that you have to be versed in a variety of weapons, and you also have to be versed in weaponry and empty hands.
Yeah.
You see, so I think that's maybe a tiny message in there about it. I don't know that I wouldn't say that he was specifically promoting Filipino martial art, right? As such, I think he was just showing that you have to have skill in weapons.
So when you train your students, are you training them with, I kind of know the answer because I went through this, right? But are you training them with double stick, or do you start them together with Junfan, JKD style stuff, or do you just, what's kind of your structure?
So I have a theory, right? I have a theory that you should always challenge yourself. So it's not
good theory. Pound the like button if you like the theory.
Yeah, so imagine this, right? It's like, oh, well, weapons are only for the advanced students, right? So you have to do just empty hands. Who says that your brain can't handle more? When you're in school, right? You only do one subject.
No.
Even when you're in like elementary school,
like 6
you do a ton of You do a ton of subjects, right? Okay, so it's the same thing in my martial art approach, right? But it's guided by this. You've got to be skilled in empty hands, and you've got to be skilled in weaponry.
Yeah.
Because those are the only two areas of martial art training that exist. Doesn't matter what the art is, what the style is, or whatever. There's only two areas.
Well, we were just talking about, too, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, about how the patterns, there may be different styles and stuff, but I mean, the patterns are there. Like, there's only 360 ways your body can move, or 360, you know what I'm saying? You'll probably explain it better than I will.
Well, but no, because so in 1985, I think it was. So now I have 2 years in with Inasano, right? And
1985.
1985. So
I was born in 1987.
Okay. Right. So now I have 2 years in with him, and down in Barbados, they had this this big martial arts exposition, right? So
you got a shout out, by the way, from Jose. Man, I'm so sorry, I may screw up your last name, but shout out to Sifu Dwight Woods, Sifu Woods.
From Jose.
Jose. Baella? Got a story about you.
Yeah,
he's running through it in his head right now. He's like, I remember this person.
Yeah, he wears glasses.
Pound the like if he's right.
Yeah.
Pound the like if he's right.
Jose Baella. I wonder if he still lives in Miami. He trained on the Kendall Drive School at 127th Avenue.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's where I trained at,
What'd
man.
you say?
Long time ago. That's right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
But did you train on Kendall Drive on 127th?
Comment yes. Comment yes.
Let's see if he
or
answers.
no. If that's the case.
Yeah.
That I am in Jacksonville now. Oh no way!
No,
that's
wow.
funny.
But that's true. You know what? Now I remember, because he did get in touch with me at one point. I think actually, when Sifu Dan goes to Jacksonville, I think he showed up at a seminar once, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, Jose, if I'm messing this up. It's been a long time and a lot of people.
He said yes. That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Right? Yeah. So I was telling you about 1985. So we have this martial arts exposition. So representatives from every style, every art that's on the island show up. So the Shotokan group, they were kind of like the organizers of the whole thing.
Right.
So they had like the biggest group, right?
Yeah.
In the 1980s, I was more of a dick than I am now. Right?
To put it nicely.
Yeah, right. You know, because JKD was kind of like, you know,
It's rebellious.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So anyhow, so they're lining up to start the show, and the guy is coming down the line, and he's going, "What Dan are you? What Dan are you?" Right. So it's like, because he doesn't want to put a second Dan in front of a third Dan
Right.
or whatever, right? So he gets to me. He goes, "What Dan are you?" I go, "Dan." He goes, "Yeah, what Dan are you?" I go, "No, I'm Dwight. Dan is my teacher." He goes, "What?" I go, "Don't worry, I'll just go at the back of the line."
Yeah.
Right? So then he comes round again, because now they only want the heads of the groups to go up, right?
Right.
Well, my group is me and my training partner, Glenn.
Right.
So he goes, "Well, who's the head?" I go, "Well, I'm the head, but he's the brain."
Yeah.
Right? He's like, "What?" I go, "Don't worry."
Don't worry about this. Don't worry. Us JKD guys,
Right.
we're a little
So
weird.
right, so I mean, even to this day, like if we do, like if somebody was to ask us to do a demonstration or something, right?
Yeah.
We do not rehearse,
Right.
right?
Just go.
Yeah, even when a bunch of us got the gig for Only the Strong, you remember?
I do
right?
remember Only the
Okay,
Strong.
yeah,
I remember doing you were doing the Kali then
Yeah,
in
you
the
were
middle of the fire.
You were probably 5 years old when
That was one of
movie
my
came out.
favorite
Yeah.
movies.
You guys
Only the
could-
Strong,
you
guys.
try to take a look, like 1993.
Mark Dacascos.
Mark
is in it,
Dacascos, yeah, good
It's
guy.
like a capoeira movie, but the
Yeah.
coolest part is, when he does.
Yeah,
the
it's when we do our
Kali.
stuff, yeah, right? So, what was I telling you?
I don't know, but Jose says you're awesome.
All right.
But yeah, you guys went to the back of the line, or you just go.
Yeah, so I'm watching everybody, right? So like they got like 10 people in their demo team. So they have a guy on the microphone who's announcing what you're gonna see next. And I'm just going, how the hell am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
Right? So now it's my turn. So I go on the mic and I introduce them, and I'm thinking, okay, so I gotta go on the mic, then run down and demonstrate, come back to the mic, run down. And I go, wham! I drop the mic on the floor and jump off the stage right in front of the audience, right? And I go, can everybody hear me okay? And we start the demo.
That's cool.
Right? So this is what I do. I can see there's like 5 different groups
Right.
from different schools, right?
Right.
So I go, what do you guys call this block? High block. What do you guys call this block? Head block. What do you guys call this block? Upper block. What do you call this? Upward block. What do you call it? Jodanuke, Ageuke, whatever, right? I go, same technique. Y'all are all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I made no friends. Right?
Yeah.
Because one, there's the argument about whose style is better than whose
Right, of
style,
course.
right? What art is better. Everybody's doing the same thing. But nobody stops to analyze whether or not, against a punch to the head, is this
Most effective.
the most effective way to defend?
Right.
You see?
No one's doing it.
Right? So I didn't make that. Actually, I shouldn't say I didn't make any friends. I got one student out of that. A guy named Wayne Quinton.
Oh wow! Yeah.
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 So Wayne has been with me nonstop, right?
That's incredible.
For how much is 85 to 100?
Over 30 years, 32, 33 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
a long time.
Right? And Wayne actually pulled off something in Barbados. I'm very proud of him because if I have it correctly, he became the first full-time professional martial artist.
Oh, wow.
In Barbados. First person to make a living. Right?
That's
He's one of them.
huge.
I don't know that I would have been able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, because I really didn't learn anything about the business of martial art
Yeah.
until many years later.
That's actually a good transition because Alan Morse, he's actually in the Facebook group as well, in the I Live Jeet Kune Do group, and he asked a question about how do you, if you've got a small group or a school or something, how do you keep retention? How do you keep people coming back in? Right? Sometimes it's like, I know when I used to in my school, some of that was hard. I mean, sometimes if you overtrain them, it's too much. If you undertrain them, it's too much.
Yeah.
What's kind of like the perfect line?
Well, it's difficult, right?
Right.
Because you're always seeking that balance, right? Because, like with kids, one of the things you never hope to hear from the parents of one of your kids' students is, I don't want to go anymore because they keep making me do the same thing over and over again, which is very common. Right. So one of my early lessons for in the business of martial art was, I heard the phrase that the traditional and karate and taekwondo people would use, and it was disguise the repetition.
Yes, I use that too, actually.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I go, why do I have to disguise the repetition? If I'm trying to teach people that repetition is the mother of skill, then if they're not willing to accept that, but that's how stubborn I am.
Yeah, and they can just take a hike.
Yeah, right? That's how stubborn I am. But then I realized that in Jeet Kune Do, there are myriad ways to disguise the repetition.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a story. This is in, it's in one of Sifu Dan's Jeet Kune Do books. It's either in, it's probably in the book Absorb What Is Useful. Sometimes I feel sorry for guys like you who came along.
No.
Yeah, because now, for you to get a copy of Absorb What Is Useful, you might have to pay $200.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I could not find my July 1988 Inside Kung Fu magazine.
Man.
I couldn't find it. It's the one where there's a page where it depicts Bruce Lee's rank and systems.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You guys can check that out on the fan page. I actually posted that up there not too long, like a couple days ago.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't find my original copy.
Yeah.
So I bought a second copy, right? Just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
The newsstand price in 1988 was like $3. I paid $25 for it.
Oh wow!
Right? But it's the same thing with Indesano's books. I mean, if you can find them, if you're lucky enough to find them, right, you're gonna pay a couple of $100 for because they're they're out of print.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But anyhow, what I was telling you is that he talks in there about a kid who came to his class, and he was complaining at the end of the class that that they were doing too much, right? So Indesano says to him, well, what do you think we did? He goes, oh, we did this technique and that technique and this technique. And he lists like 5 different techniques, right? And Indesano says to himself, because he didn't get it, we were practicing footwork.
Oh man.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, but if you think about it, right? So if I want you to practice push shuffle, right? I can have you push shuffle and hit with the jab. I can have you push shuffle and hit with the low jab. I can have you push shuffle and hit with the hook, right? Hit with the body hook.
Yeah.
I can have you push shuffle and stop hitting with the lead hand, push shuffle and hit with the rear hand, right? And we're
but you're still push shuffling is the...
But push shuffle is what we're doing.
Exactly.
But so we don't have to necessarily use the term disguise the repetition. But I'll tell you why I think in the old days, everything's probably very different now.
Never know.
I remember when I first sat down and came up with a curriculum for my school.
Do you think a lot of JKD guys do that, or they shoot from the hip?
Man.
I think they shoot from the hip. You know what I mean? Like, I think from a lot of the JKD guys that I've interacted with, one of the things that I've noticed is that I don't think they have long-lasting school, or they only have like 3 members or something, because there's just no structure to it. It doesn't mean they need a belt or a ranking system necessarily. Right. But if there's no, like, all right, today we're going to do block, check, hit, or whatever, and then next we're going to do this. It's like totally, there's no structure.
There's many different examples. Right. There are some very successful guys, right? There's guys in New York that do really well. Right. I mean, there's guys probably all over the country that do really well. And I venture to think that they all have an organized curriculum. But I'll tell you something, right? I'll tell you something. And Dan Indesano says this all the time. Jun Fan, the Jun Fan system, the Jun Fan martial arts system, right? Which for me is kickboxing, and then there's Jun Fan kickboxing, there's Jun Fan Kung Fu, which is influenced very heavily by Wing Chun, right? And then there's Jun Fan grappling, right? Which is influenced, for me, very heavily by Japanese jiu-jitsu, not so much by Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Right, no one talks about that.
In the beginning, right?
Yeah, interesting.
So, why am I telling you this?
I don't know, but it's very interesting. The structure.
Right. So Inosanto says all the time that Jun Fan can be organized. Jeet Kune Do, however, cannot be. And he's right. You see, he's right.
What's the difference for some people who might be watching this and they're interested in Jeet Kune Do, but they may not know the full history? Like, what's the difference really between Jun Fan and Jeet Kune Do? Is there a difference?
For me, in order to organize stuff in my own mind, and also to organize stuff in order to promote and perpetuate the art, yes, there is. See, think of it this way, right? Everybody knows you go into even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you go into karate, you go into Taekwondo, everybody knows you got to start at the white belt and you got to move your way up the rank to the black belt and what have you, right? If we want to attract people, let's say your decision is that you want to make a living teaching Jeet Kune Do, right? Okay.
Hit the like button if you'd love to make a living teaching Jeet Kune Do.
All right. So now there are different approaches that you can use. You can convert into a more traditional approach and do belt this and belt that and what have you. And if that's your approach and it works for you, and you can sleep at night, and you're not stealing money from people, and you're not intentionally hurting people or whatever, then more power to you.
Right.
It's not my way, right? I shouldn't say I've never used belts. We did use belts. We used belts for the little dragons.
Right, I remember that, yes.
They're 4, 5, and 6 years old.
Right.
Right, okay. And Ernie Reyes did, he had a very nice package and what have you. Actually, my way around it, I mean, we modified a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
But the way that I reasoned in my head was that if anybody should be teaching a program called Little Dragon, should be us.
Of course.
Because that's Bruce Lee's Hong Kong cinematic nickname.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Someone actually mentioned that,
Right? Yeah. So
exactly.
if anybody should teach the Little Dragon curriculum, it should be us.
Jeet Kune Do guys.
Right.
And gals.
But here's what happened at age 7. At age 7, when you joined Junior Jeet Kune Do, we were done
out of there
with all that belt stuff.
Right.
And they went into the colored ranking system using the T-shirt.
Right.
Right. So it all depends. There's many approaches.
Right.
Anybody can use any approach that they want. Right. But as far as curriculum, here's what I've come to realize. If we went outside now into the heart of downtown Somi, and the first person we see, we go, hey, what's a punch? They'll go, that's when you go like this.
Yeah.
What's a kick? That's when you go like this. What's trapping? Exactly, right?
They won't know.
Right? What's grappling? Now, because of the proliferation, right, and the popularity of jiu-jitsu and what have you, they might have an idea.
Right.
30 years ago, not really,
Yeah.
but everybody knew kicking and punching.
Of course.
So since everybody knows kicking and punching, start there.
Yeah.
Right? Then take a look at the framework and the proprietary language that exists in Jeet Kune Do. There's a thing called the 4 ranges of combat. Right?
Could you go over the 4 ranges?
Yeah.
Just briefly?
So here's the order, right? Kicking, punching, trapping, grappling. Here's how I break that down. Trapping and grappling, because they require what I call the skillful manipulation of your opponent's center of gravity. You think about it.
Yeah.
If you touch hands with somebody,
Right.
and you try to blast through, pop down or whatever, Wing Chun, you are trying to control their center of gravity.
Right.
Even more so if you're going to take down, throw, choke, right, sweep, whatever.
100%.
Right? So trapping and grappling require the skillful manipulation of your opponent's center of gravity.
Yep.
Kicking and punching, however, do not.
It's true.
And everybody knows kicking and punching instinctively. Start there.
Exactly.
So that's how you structure your curriculum. You start with the easy stuff.
Right. So they get used to doing that.
Because kicking and punching dynamically, right, delivers what? Impeccable control over your own center of gravity.
Right.
Now when you have control over yourself, now you can seek to control others. Oh wait, is that philosophy? Oh my God! I thought we were talking kicking him. Oh, I don't know.
This is a JKB broadcast. You don't know what can happen. Hey guys, real quick, hit the like, smash the heart buttons, all that stuff. But please, please, please make sure you share this stream. We really want to get the word of Jeet Kune Do out to as many people as possible. We've got Sifu Dwight Woods here from Miami, Florida. So if you could, please smash the like button, smash the heart button, and go ahead and share this off, please. All right, so... But, you know, one of the things, just kind of going off some of that, Alan is a great dude. He's a great dude in the group. He was asking, you know, what are some of your, he had mentioned, you know, what are your, like, 5 best training aids or something like that. Is there something that you've seen that helps, say, train better? Like, I don't know how to ask this, but, like, what are your 5 favorite, I don't want to say training methods, but things that you use to train, goodness. Do you know what I'm saying?
Kinda.
No.
No, it's not that I don't know what my five favorite.
Alan, man.
What is?
He says, what are his 5 favorite training aids in order?
5 favorite training aids. I mean, that could mean pieces of equipment,
right?
Couldn't it?
It could mean.
Right.
It could mean.
So.
There's a lot of
okay. So
equipment.
yeah. So all right. So let's. I mean, if I don't know if he's live with you that he can clarify. But let's say he does mean pieces of equipment.
Someone has the same shirt as you, Michael.
No way.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
this the best? It's the best, man. A lot of girls stop you and ask you about this one.
Who is that guy? What?
Right.
Wonder if there is a video series to help folks train.
There is there'll be the better version, right? Okay. Yeah, it's something that I'm working on. So for right now, with Carlos's help, you know, I'll put the stuff out there. But yes, there is something on the back burner that's being organized and put out.
He's got literally hundreds of videos that have not been revealed to the public. They're not even on YouTube. He's got a bunch of videos on YouTube, so you can check that out. But what we're going to do is take all of the knowledge that he's got, all of his old videos that he's got, and we're going to put it into the group so everybody can watch it. So if you're not part of the I Love Jeet Kune Do group, make sure you join the group while also being part of the page. But yeah, so like what?
Okay, so training aids.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So this is not necessarily in order of favorites. I'll tell, look, Thai pads.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
but that's
of course,
Muay Thai.
Yes. Right. Of course. Right. Except for when it's used as target practice for stick.
That's
right?
interesting.
Except for when it's used as look. But in Thai boxing, we punch, right?
Right.
Okay. So there's not a huge disparity, right?
Yeah.
But Thai pads, I'll tell you why. My introduction to Muay Thai came in 1984, right? I met Inosano in 1983. This is when I was a long distance runner. So that the picture that you put up, I think to promote this. So that's my first picture with my Jeet Kune Do Sifu.
Right.
And the guy who became my Muay Thai instructor, Surachai Surasu. This is 1985.
Wow.
But my introduction to Muay Thai came at that same camp in St. Louis, Missouri, California Martial Arts Academy. Because in 1983, long story short, I took falls from a French wrestler so that Inosano could learn technique. So he goes, oh, Dwight's pretty, he's pretty tough. He's got pretty good condition. Because I was a long distance runner at the time.
Right.
So I was telling you, if you look at that picture, I'm like this big.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. I'm not, like the fat slob that I am now. Right? So, so in 1984, he's now introducing people to Thai boxing. So everybody gets to come up and do the famous 3 minutes of double kick.
Oh.
Right? So he calls me up. He goes, I know he's in good shape. He took the falls for me last year from the French wrestler. Right? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes later, whatever it was, I was almost dead.
Yeah.
Right? Literally, I was on the floor, gasping for breath. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember there was a split second where when I finished, I was going to be cool.
Yeah.
Right? And then the body just gave out. The body, and I crumpled on the floor. And I thought, this Thai boxing is honesty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no make-believe in this thing.
Oh, no.
Right? So Muay Thai has always been a favored, training method.
Right.
So Thai pads are important.
You used to use a lot of focus mitts as well.
We still
use that.
No, yeah. Look, the focus mitt is a martial arts laboratory in your.
I remember you said it was like sparring. People talk about let's put on the gloves and hit each other and do it. He's like, well, you can do the same type of sparring.
Look. Here's the thing, right? People don't understand what sparring is, right? Everything is sparring. Here's the formula that I use, right? There are two types of training: solo training and partner training.
Right.
And then within solo and partner training, there are two subtypes. So there's solo training in the air,
right,
aka shadow boxing, right, which is another favorite aid, visualization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because mental development might be a thing that's not stressed enough or often enough, right? Visualization, creative visualization is an important thing, and martial art teaches that, even if it just teaches it within the realm of shadow boxing, right? So in solo training there's shadow boxing, and then there's solo training on the equipment. So those are the two subtypes in solo training. In partner training, two subtypes. Partner training with the equipment. You hold the Thai pads for me,
right,
the focus mitts, right? We train with the sticks together or whatever. And then there's what I call glove drills. You see? Now, for most people, sparring is the thing that you see in the karate and taekwondo school. So everybody comes in, they warm up together, right? And then you split off, and the yellow belts train their stuff over here, the green belts over here, whatever. And then everybody comes back together at the end of class, and they put the little booties on and the little the little stuff, right? And then they right? And they beat the crap out of it, right? And the ones who are naturally aggressive do better. People like you, right, do better, right? Than the people like me who are more strategic in their aggression, right? So then you have kids quitting because they went to martial art not to get beat up,
and now they got beat up.
But again, beat up because the sparring is not structured.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
Right. So all sparring must be controlled, right? But when people say sparring, they're usually referring to the version that in the old days we called free sparring.
Right.
Where you don't know what I'm going to do and I don't know what you're going to do. So it's free sparring.
Right.
Right? Well, you don't start there. You have to work your way up to that.
Well, how do you work your way up through it?
You work your way up to that by drilling realistically. Right? In 1982, I think it was, Inosano conducted an experiment. At one of his schools, they focused on sparring. On the other school, they focused on drilling. And then they had a little competition. Right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay? And
what school would you want to be part of?
And from everything that he and I have spoken about, it didn't make any difference. It didn't make any difference.
Really?
Right? But the drilling has to be realistic.
Yeah.
You see? That's the thing. It's got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Right? So you can have prearranged sparring, but just don't make it the way in the classical martial arts they have the one-step stuff or the three-step stuff, So I go 1, I go 2, I go 3, and then kia, that stuff, right? That has its place in their type of training. We can do something like that.
Yeah.
Right? But for me, that would be whether we do it with the gloves or with the focus mitts, right? So let's say we do it with the focus mitt. It means that you hit 1, 2, 3 at me.
Bang, bang, bang.
So I catch, parry, cover, and then I hit back at you.
Right.
Right? So it's still 3-step sparring.
Right.
But we're moving the way we would apply the technique for real.
Gotcha.
See? Nobody will apply the technique
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And then also, in traditional, I mean, you can tell that I spent some time in the traditional arts, right? But I'm applying the third tenet of Jeet Kune Do: absorb what is useful, right? See, because I'll go back to Barbados, and forgive me if I start talking about this.
No, this is awesome.
And then we go here,
That's
and
awesome.
then I try to circle back if I remember.
We keep getting more views, so you're doing great.
Okay.
People like it.
Before I branched
Smash
out,
the like button, guys. Thank you.
before I branched out on my own, I did actually join a local school called Wushu Kwan.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right. It was
In Barbados?
Yeah. Which Kwan, Wushu Kwan is the school of Wushu, the school of Chinese martial art, right?
Right.
Or a school of national art, and I think it was brought to the island by a local guy who had gone to school, gone to college, gone to university in England, where he trained in it, and then he brought it back
home.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it built from there. So I didn't last very long though.
Was this before? This is before you got involved with JKD, right, or after? You were exposed to the
This
bug?
was simultaneous.
Oh wow, that's poor wushu.
Right?
Yeah.
wait, let me think.
You must have been
No,
rebelling
this was-
against
okay,
everything.
This
they
was
said.
this was yes, I was involved with Jeet Kune Do, but on my own.
Gotcha. Okay.
I hadn't met Inasano yet.
Right.
I did all this before I met Inasano.
Right.
But I was
Studying it.
yeah, and I wasn't easy to get along with because I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Right? Because Bruce Lee said so for example, I go, Bruce Lee says that you should have like 10 different ways to train your kick. You should kick the bag, you should kick the air, you should kick a tree, you should kick the right, and we don't have any equipment at this school. Right? So I
So they
because
weren't-
because everything was done in the air.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So I don't
So you really
I don't
absorbed a lot of the principles of Jeet Kune Do even before you fully dove into it.
Yeah.
You were already kind of applying the
Yeah,
principles.
before inside. See, the thing about getting the airline job,
Uh-huh.
right? Which is why to this day I'm loyal, so to speak, to my memories of Eastern Airlines, because without Eastern Airlines, right, I would not have become who I am.
Yeah.
Without Dan Inasano, I would not have become who I am.
Right.
Right. Without Dan Kennedy, I would not have. I would not have
Shout out to the
become,
Kennedy.
become who I am.
Right.
Eastern Airlines. There was I was put on furlough at one point, and I had made friends with some people in Seattle, and so I moved to Seattle because that's where Bruce Lee was
That's where,
buried.
yeah.
Right. So that's I if I remember correctly, because it's so.
How long
ago.
was that decision? I'm curious about that. How long did it take you to go from Seattle, blah, 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 and then go? Like, how long was that decision to move? Like, how long did it take you to make the decision?
Not that long.
Not that long,
no,
right?
No, because what we knew was that some bean counter at headquarters in Miami had determined. I'm just going to express it this way, but then, if somebody in Barbados who worked at Eastern with me, ever sees this, they might go, "He's full of crap." That's not how it happened. But here's how I remember it. Some bean counter determined that the head count at the Barbados office was off by like 0.4 of a person. So they could recoup some kind of losses if they laid me off for 3 months and then brought me back. That's how I remember.
That's insane.
I could be dead wrong.
Yeah.
All I know is, right, very quickly I was on a plane to Seattle.
3-month training trip.
And yeah, and from my bedroom window in Seattle, this is how funny life is. From my bedroom window in Seattle, I watched them over the 3 months that I was there. I watched them build the first 2 Boeing 757s.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and there were Eastern Airlines
Eastern
planes.
Airlines.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
right. Yeah. And while I was in Seattle, I never got to hang with Taki Kimura. See, because I think this was 1980, so I still hadn't met Inasano.
Right.
So I still didn't know as much as I should have known. But my friend there, she knew a guy who had spent some time the Bruce Lee thing was familiar to her for some. So I ended up doing a few classes with the guy. I believe his name was Michael Lee, right? And I believe he was Jesse Glover's little brother.
No way.
I think, right?
Jesse Glover's little brother. That's pretty cool.
I think that's what it was. But so I did a few classes there. You know, I kept my running going.
Tacky, great guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, that's where I took my first picture at Bruce Lee's gravesite. Right. So you know, you can
Google it.
I don't think that one's online. But me with my afro and what have you.
Yeah.
Right. But what happened was then every year on July 20th, I went back to Seattle. 1980. Well, I wasn't there in July. I was there during 1980, but not in July. But July of 1981, July of 1982, right? I was there every year, 20th of July. But then in 1983, here's what I said to myself: Dwight, you can only get so far paying respects to the deceased source of Jeet Kune Do. If you want to get further, you have to seek out the living source. And the living source pointed, for me, to Dan Inosanto.
Interesting.
Right? And like I was telling you earlier, at that camp, he was teaching Kali. But I had seen a magazine article, and it had said that the Filipino martial arts was now part of the JKD curriculum. So somehow I even though I might not have made the conscious decision, I kind of knew that I was probably gonna. I don't know.
This is your home.
Yeah,
You
think
knew. You felt
knew it. I knew it without knowing it.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I went that week, I didn't have any intention to keep going to see Dan Inosanto. I just wanted to get my feet wet.
Right.
Right. But here's what happened. I went. I did my week with him. Then I did my week with Francis Fong, and then I fly back home, and I'm just like, I can't do this. So I get home and I talk to my supervisor, and I work a couple of days so I could arrange to get like 5 more days off. And I called Jay D'Amato, right, who was the guy running the camp, and I go, Jay, how much would you charge me if I come back out? He goes, Dwight, you did us such an honor coming all the way from Barbados.
Yeah.
Right? If you can get back out here, I won't charge you anything.
Wow.
So I went back out for another few days. Right, and I took 12, I think, because I made like 12 new friends. I took 12 Barbados souvenir T-shirts or something like that. Because it was kind. I was kind
Smart,
of a I was kind of what's novelty, because the week before I got there, some guys had come out from Connecticut.
Yeah.
So they thought that was impressive.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Thought
So
it was.
from one side of the U.S. to the other side. Then the skinny black kid shows up. Where are you from?
Barbados.
Where is that? What part of Jamaica is that? No, not really. And again, if I remember correctly, there was a map of the world in one of the rooms at the dorms. This was UFC Irvine. Barbados was not on the map.
What?
I swear to you. It was not on the map.
Jeez. That's
Right?
insane.
So
That's insane.
somebody said to me, you know, oh well, how did you hear? How did you hear it? I go, well, we live in grass huts and we wear grass skirts, but we get Black Belt magazine.
Yeah, we got Black Belt magazine. So
Right. So that's how. Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. What a journey. That's a serious. I mean, so. Man, it's almost like you started this JKD path like in 1980 almost, right? And then met Inosanto in 83, was it? 84?
No,
86.
I don't. Gosh, see, because it's
almost like
it's
your
so long ago.
pre-JKD
It's so long ago.
training started.
Right.
Something clicked, something connected, and made you go into it.
The thing that connected was The Big Boss, and The Big Boss was released in 1970.
Interesting. So the movie,
Right? Yeah.
What made you
Okay.
stick? What?
Because, like I told you,
was so different.
earlier, it was different.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't flashy like the other guys.
Right.
But even against my will, because I was a big Shaolin guy, right? I was a big look. My heroes at the time were Chen Quan Tai,
Oh wow.
right? Alexander Fusheng, right, and Chi Kwan Chun. Okay, Chen Sing was kind of he was okay, but Chen Kwan Tai was my boy.
Yeah.
Right. So movies like Men from the Monastery, the Five Shaolin Masters, right? I mean, if you look that stuff up, that was my life.
Yeah.
But then Bruce Lee came along and kind of disrupted a lot of
ruined all of that.
He disrupted a lot of that. You know, so there was the Big Boss, and then, you know, pretty soon after that, Fist of Fury, which you all call Chinese Connection.
Yes.
Right. See, because we got the other thing that we got, because Barbados was also a British colony, as was Hong Kong. We got the Hong Kong names for movies. Right, we didn't get the American names. Right. So the Big Boss in the U.S. was called Fist of Fury. Right. Fist of Fury was called Chinese Connection. Right. So y'all are confused.
Yeah.
In some markets, Bruce Lee's third film, Way of the Dragon, was released after Enter the Dragon, and it was renamed Return of the Dragon. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah. In some markets, that's what happened.
What?
Right?
Did you know that?
But it was actually the Way of the Dragon.
That's crazy.
Right? Then Enter the Dragon. Now, but you do know that they started filming fight scenes for Game of Death between Way of the Dragon and Enter the Dragon, right? But then they put that on hold because Warner Brothers called him to do Enter the Dragon.
Right.
So that's why in the final product of what came to be Game of Death, purists like me fast forward to the end.
Yeah.
Right? We never watched Billy Lowe and his crap.
No.
I shouldn't say that.
He's Billy, man, I'm so sorry.
I shouldn't say that. Right? But you know, but we grew up in an era of what they call the Bruce Lee, what they call it, the Bruce Lee exploitation movies. Right? There was Bruce L.E.
Yes.
There was Bruce L.I.
Yes.
There was Bruce L.A.I. There was Dragon Lee. There was whatever. And then, you know, there was Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. Bruce Lee in New Guinea.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee this, Bruce, right? And none of them were the guy.
Yeah.
Right? You know? So that sickened the hardcore people.
Right,
like
of course.
Me. Right.
I remember actually doing that when I was younger. I ordered the wrong DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what? That's not him.
There was a lot of skullduggery, you know, in back in the day with that stuff. So now I forget what I was telling you. But,
well,
right.
There's I mean, just kind of shifting a little bit, just because I see my buddy Kerry over here. He had asked a question. I'm just gonna read it. He's like, I like to use hand palms when I strike. This is more technical stuff, right? I like to use hand palms when I strike these days. I can still intercept and trap if need be, but go into a hand palm won't hurt the knuckles so bad. So I guess I'm thinking hand palms over punches. I'm assuming, Kerry, right? So if you have a preference, do you prefer to do hand palms so you don't break your wrist, let's say, or do you prefer punching and stuff like that? What's like the big? Look at the knuckles. If you can't see them, they're like calloused up and blackened out. It's ridiculous. It's serious. I took a picture of him and I was like, look at those knuckles. That's like the first thing you see.
Right. I was okay. So
you have to train.
Let's answer that.
You got to train the knuckles.
So we'll answer that by answering
realistic training. That's right, Johnny.
Right.
Realistic training.
We'll answer that by answering the other question about training aids. You know what's one of my favorite training aids?
Huh.
Right, the hand pad.
Which if you just is that the one that
yeah, right. But then another favorite training aid, right, is any and everything that strengthens forearm to fist. Right?
Yeah.
Back in, again, I'm so sorry for people like you who were born too late.
Too late.
Right?
Too late.
There was a guy named Jerry Robinson in Santa Monica. I think he was a student of Chris Kent.
Okay.
Right? We should talk about my heroes.
Yeah.
Like Chris Kent and
Yeah.
Cass Magda and Ted Lukai.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Right? But then we'd be here all day.
That'll be broadcast number 2.
Right. But yeah, Jerry Robinson had an outfit called Health for Life, I think. and he had a lot of non-mainstream programs. He had Secrets of Advanced Bodybuilders.
Right.
He had something abs, extreme abs. I don't remember, but I know that one of Chris Kent's earliest video efforts was produced, I think, by Jerry Robinson.
Oh, cool.
I think it's a series called Dynamic Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
I think, right? But in the training equipment that this guy had, right, it was two things that I had not seen anywhere. There was this metal thing that you would put the rubber weight on it, so you could put the different plates on it, and then it was a forearm trainer.
Oh, interesting.
Right, and he also had a complete training manual for forearms.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
He had a complete training manual for forearms. So there was that plus.
That was Dynamic Jeet Kune Do?
No. This is
This
Jerry
is the person who
Robinson.
filmed it,
Yeah,
or helped film it. Gotcha.
He produced Dynamic Jeet Kune Do, I think, for Chris Kent.
Gotcha.
But Health for Life in his product. So there was stuff about hanging like this,
right,
with the straight bar,
right,
and curling like this, and then you superset that with something like this, and then you superset that with the wrist turner like this,
right,
and then you hold it back like this, and you go like that, right? Bruce Lee had the grip
that's right,
thing,
the grip one, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't produce anything like that, but that's how I trained forearms for years. But my favorite exercise for training forearms is when you take, you know what the easy curl bar is?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You take that and you invert the grip, right? And then, see, you do your bicep curl this way.
Interesting, yeah. I hadn't even thought of that. I was just using that with Romario. I think Romario's in here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That so anything that keeps the fist, right, and the forearm in good shape, right, is a favorite training aid of mine.
Is that what you would need to really? Because I know one of the biggest things that people don't realize, like,
well,
if you hit somebody.
But don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, right? Knuckles up against skull and teeth and what have you is never fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So a palm strike, there's nothing. See, but here's the thing, right? If I can hit like that, but what does it stop me from tiger clawing you?
Yeah.
Right? What does it stop me from snake fisting you?
Right.
What does it stop me from hitting you with the palm heel? So it's not so much what
I almost
shape,
died for you guys right there.
Yeah, it's not so much what shape is at the end of this, right? It's whether or not it's accurate and powerful, right, and thrown at the right time from the proper distance. You see, because you know that when we talk about there's a Bruce Lee quote. I'm gonna do a hatchet job on it, but it's words to the effect that Jeet Kune Do is not so much a matter of petty technique, right? It's more about the training of attributes. You see? So technique is a means to an end,
right? Not
an end in itself. You see? Because you don't know when the technique, but you train it. But it's like here's how I explain it to people. Michael Jordan is considered probably still the greatest basketball player, right? And
some controversy about it, but
right,
pretty much.
And I think that he was a small point guard or whatever it is position that he played. But Michael Jordan's responsibilities as a guard in the NBA were the same responsibilities as any other guard in the NBA. Right?
Yes.
And then what do you do in basketball? You run, dribble, shoot, pass.
Right.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
So why is Michael Jordan a standout?
Training?
Attributes. You see?
Yes.
Control over distance, ability to defy gravity, right? Speed, elusiveness, whatever. It's attributes. So you train the techniques in order to develop the attributes.
Yeah.
Right? You're not training the technique in order to develop the technique itself. That's a byproduct.
Right.
Skill in the technique.
So would you say attribute training is something that you should focus on, and then
of course
you'll have the technique after?
Yeah. Why train Muay Thai? Attributes.
So what
the hell gets you in better shape than just double? And you don't have to be sophisticated in it.
Right.
Just hit
Just
the
hit
pad.
the pads.
5 3-minute rounds of double kick 3 times a week.
That's rough.
You'll be shredded.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
You'll be shredded.
So just for some of the people who may have questions about what's the difference between like attribute training, what is attribute training? I mean,
so
just
an attribute,
simple.
right? An attribute is a quality which allows the skillful execution of the technique. That's my definition of an attribute.
That's a great... Smash the like button if you thought that was a great definition.
Right? Attribute is a quality that allows the skillful execution of the technique. See, in the years of teaching and developing my approach to JKD, I do what I saw Bruce Lee do, which is a thing. You know who Brendan Burchard is?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, Brendan teaches a thing. It's like high level. How should I put it? But what he talks about is frameworks and proprietary language.
Yes.
So you know, my simple-minded understanding of it. Frameworks. That's how you organize your material. And that's the thing about Jeet Kune Do. All of us who teach Jeet Kune Do, I shouldn't say that. All of us who train Jeet Kune Do. So I teach, I make a living teaching. So it's pretty much incumbent upon me, right? Because to a certain degree, I am responsible for people's development.
Right.
If I don't have a structure that aids them in that development, then you know what?
Not doing the
Right?
job, yeah.
But if we're just a bunch of guys that like to get together, right, and work out, then we perhaps don't need a specific structure.
Right.
But you should never have a specific, because this would be anti-Jeet Kune Do. You should never have a specific structure that is inflexible.
Right.
You see?
That it's
and
like
that's
a doctrine.
and that's the danger. Right, exactly. And that has never happened.
Right.
And probably will never happen.
Right.
Right? Rick Fay's curriculum is different from mine. Mine is different from Neil Colliff's. The three of us, our curriculum is different from Cass Magda's, and I'm pretty sure that Cass's curriculum is different from Chris Kent's.
Right.
Right? And Chris's curriculum is different from Burton Richardson's. Right? And then all of us, what we do is different from Dan Insano, our teacher.
Right.
Right? Which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because that's the way it's supposed to be, because we're all individuals, and Jeet Kune Do allows for individual expression. The bad thing is that kind of defies spreading and conquering the world.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Right? You know, if everybody was doing the same thing the same way, that's easier to spread.
Yeah. It's similar to how the karate associations will have a specific...
Of course.
Exactly.
Right? So that's why, you know, any of the Taekwondo organizations, right?
Yeah.
Because you do it this way.
Yeah.
Right? I remember this was St. Louis, 1984. I met a guy who ran a school for the ATA, American Taekwondo Association.
Okay.
And he told me something that blew my mind, right? He said if his school ever stopped making money, if the earnings started to go down, they would send a bunch of analysts in to see what's wrong.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that would happen is that they would close it and move him somewhere else. And I was like, Jesus.
That's insane, yeah.
Really? Really? He would not be out of a job.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh man. But we'll never have that.
Right.
You know, we'll never have that in JKD. I mean, if you think about all the people who have trained with me, right?
Hundreds, thousands, probably thousands right now.
Yeah, it's thousands by now, right? And so some of them have gone on to do their own thing. Wayne's curriculum is not the same as mine. And he's the closest thing to me that there is.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I have a friend in Barbados who makes a joke. She said that one morning she was getting ready for work and the TV was on, and she heard me on the TV.
It was Wayne.
Right? And she's like, whoa, Dwight's in town? And then she goes, it was Wayne.
It was Wayne,
right?
yeah.
And it's true, because I've watched him teach.
Yeah.
Right? And I go, oh, yeah. I used to teach like that.
Yeah,
right? It's like Ray Khan was saying last night.
Yeah.
You know, Ray trained with me 20-something years
Ray
ago.
Khan, hopefully you're watching this. I showed you the page, man. Come on.
Right? You know, and Ray was commenting about how things have changed.
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to. It's the art of Jeet Kune Do.
It evolves.
Right? The art of Jeet Kune Do has never been fixed.
Yeah.
Right? Bruce Lee said, right? Knowledge is fixed in time, whereas knowing is continual. You see? Yeah. So you got to stay live. Right?
Yeah.
You got to keep going, right? So the way I taught, plus I'm better now as an instructor.
Then you were back
I might
then.
not be better as a practitioner because now I'm fat slob.
Yeah,
right?
nah, he's not fat. He's not fat at all. That's what's
right. But yeah, I'm a much better instructor now because I know more.
Yeah.
Also.
You've seen a lot of the same questions come up, a lot of the same students.
I'll be transparent here. One of my biggest drawbacks, and I hope that you know, if anybody's suffering from this, you know, rid yourself of it now. I used to think that I was nothing special, and so if I could do it,
everyone could do it.
Everybody else could do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought the same thing.
Now it's well intentioned,
right,
but it's not true.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the worst things that a well-intentioned adult or parent could do to a child, right? Or that you can do to yourself, right? Because I got this from Dan Kennedy. And if you guys don't know who Dan Kennedy is, you should look him up. Because he is, in my opinion, the Bruce Lee or the Dan Inosanto of the world of direct response marketing. That's how I look at it. Dan Kennedy is the guy who is through him and his former partner Bill Glazer that I learned this. Look at what's working in other industries and see if it can be applied to your industry and help make things better for you.
Yeah.
Right? So the classic example is the drive-through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Who did that first? Banking, pharmacy, or fast food?
Fast food.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was fast food, but
Right?
they all copied it.
Yeah.
Dry cleaners, same thing.
You know, right?
They have-
So at some point, right? Maybe it was fast. Let's say it was fast food. So some banking executive is doing a quick lunch at McDonald's, and he goes, "Wait, I'm giving them money.
Yeah.
We can do this at our bank.
Exactly.
Give money, right?
Yeah.
There you go, right? Then somebody from CVS or Walgreens drives through the bank and goes, I could give them drugs. Right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so I have
Rudy Lambs, I think you're watching too. What's up, man? How are you? I know you're local.
yeah.
Everybody's
Rudy.
trained with Seafood Dwight. It's crazy.
Yeah, Rudy's a hardcore Jeet Kune guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
How long did if you're on here, how long did when did you meet him? How long ago would you say?
June of 1988.
You remember the month?
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how my brain organizes it. Right? June of 1988. I think
that's impressive. So we're talking a lot about the evolution, and JKD's always growing. So what's next for you? I mean, you've been involved with Jeet Kune Do forever. Obviously, I think you're still going to keep on being involved in Jeet Kune Do forever.
I think so.
But is there any kind of new thing that's coming out for you? What's on the horizon for you?
Well, you know how we were talking about within the art, there's enough diversity that we don't have to disguise the repetition, right? Because Jeet Kune Do is the pathless path, right? You don't have to necessarily go outside of the art to find your next thing.
Yeah.
Right? You could stay within the confines of the art, right? Because we're not looking at technique. You see? So we're talking about 4 ranges of combat.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I always teach that first. I never pretend to have something better than what Bruce Lee had. But I know that the word range confuses people sometimes. So kick and range, people think, okay, that must be long range because of the leg, right? And as a matter of fact, Paul, in one of Paul Vunak's video series, he kind of broke it down that way. You know, kick and range is the extension of the leg, but you can't hit with the punch.
Right.
So then punch and range is inside of kick and range or whatever, right? And break it down that way. But people are confused by the word range because they think it refers to the distance between people, right? So we always teach Bruce Lee's original terminology first.
Right.
But then I tell people that I have kind of renamed that to be the, what do I rename it to be? It's the 4 skills of empty-handed combat.
Right.
Right? So kicking is a skill. Punching is a skill. Trapping is a skill. Grappling is a skill. Right? So, let's say I decide, you know what? I want to experiment with grappling against trapping and kicking and punching.
Yeah.
Right? So that's within the art.
Right, of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So I don't have to necessarily go divest myself of JKD training and train something else and then bring it back. In the old days, maybe you needed to do that.
Yeah, but now there's so much.
Nowadays, you don't.
So much.
Nowadays, you don't. I mean, everybody has that. I mean, you know, we talk about it all the time. People live in the palms of their hands.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People's whole lives are in their smartphones.
Exactly.
Except mine.
Yeah.
You know, I just got about a month ago, I got some text messages that had been left for me 59 days previously. Right?
Wow.
Okay. Last week, I got some voicemails that had been left 3 days previously.
Yeah.
Right? I think AT&T just messes with me, you know, because I won't upgrade my phone.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're like, oh, okay, we're not going to get any more money out of you, then we're going to screw with you.
That's right. That's right.
So what? But no. To give a more detailed or serious answer, what's next is the stuff that you and I will be doing together. Right.
Right.
I mean, so this is like preview of that. Right. You know, and then there's some stuff I don't want to talk about because. You know, sometimes you jinx it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. You know, I learned from my teacher. Dan Insano is one of the most given people in the world, right? And one of the things that I copied from him, see, because there are people who he has given so much to them, and then they've turned around and used it against him, right? And I've learned, I've done the same thing. There was a time I wanted to be Dan Insano one time.
Yeah.
Right? There was a time, right? We even, at one point, we even made T-shirts that said, that the logo...
was similar.
It was similar, and it said, Insano Academy, Miami Branch.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? I was copying, who's like, it was a guy named Jim Smothers in Baldwin, Missouri. He did that, and I thought that's pretty cool, right? And here's the thing, right? See, here's the thing. Insano could have set up a system like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where we all paid him, every month, every year, or whatever, to be his representative.
Yeah,
right. But no.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of like the Thai Boxing Association has done that. To a degree, hasn't it?
To a degree, yeah.
Right? Because they have their set system of counts.
Yeah.
Right? They have a certain way of training, testing.
Yeah, but even Muay Thai has evolved.
Yeah.
Even Muay Thai has evolved, right? I mean, you know, when I was coming up in the art, you never went switch round kick to jab.
Of course not.
You know what I mean?
That's a JKD thing.
Right, yeah. But we started doing it because if in the Junfan structure, right, lead hand dominates.
Right.
In the Muay Thai structure, lead side dominates in the Junfan structure. Right. In Muay Thai, rear dominates.
Yeah.
Well, play around with it and see what you can do. You know, right? So it's like what we call at UMAA Muay Thai 5 count.
Yeah.
Since we don't switch lead, you know, we switch lead in Junfan, we switch lead well, I shouldn't say we switch lead because we don't switch lead in Kali, but Kali double stick, right? But double stick brings up the skill level of the left hand.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Of course,
right?
Yeah. That's a gem right there. So Kali is used to improve your Junfan skills, your JKD skills, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Why do you think that is? Because some people won't see the connection between doing this and this.
Okay, because you got to understand, right? You got to understand. And again, I make a joke of this, but it's because some of you came along
Too late.
right? So all the good stuff.
Smash the like button if you
Right.
came along too late.
Okay. all the good stuff. You know, you guys don't know anything about it, right? So you came along in a time where where people were saying Kali, Eskrima, and Arnis are all
Correct.
the same thing, right?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
different names for the same thing, right? But here's how we were taught, right? So Arnis,
Yeah.
traditionally and historically, was the name given to the art in Luzon, which is the Northern Territories, right? Where I believe Manila, the capital, is located,
Right.
Right. So then Arnis is the term that's exported around the world from the
From
capital,
there, correct.
right? Eskrima is used in the Visayas, which is the central portion, right? So like a famous, that's where Cebu, for example,
Correct,
is.
yeah,
So
yeah.
a famous school in Cebu is Doce Pares. So it's Doce Pares Eskrima, right? Kali is a term that was found in down south in Mindanao. Now, a difference between Arnis, Eskrima, and Kali is that Arnis and Eskrima are derived from the Spanish language. Kali is not, because there were not significant inroads made by the Spanish into the southern Philippines.
Oh, they didn't make it through?
Not quite, right? So here's one of the breakdowns, right? Now, I'm not here to argue over whether it's historically accurate or whatever. My use of this particular breakdown is so people derive a greater understanding, appreciation, and ability to synthesize what it is that they're doing. So the Ka in Kali is found in the word kamay or kamut, which means the hand. It's also found in the word katawan, which means the body. Li, the Li in Kali comes from the word lihok, which means motion. So Ka-li,
Yeah.
kamay lihok,
Hand motion.
katawan lihok, hand and body motion, right? So if people ask me, well, what's your definition of Kali? Kali is the art of understanding hand and body motion with or without a weapon.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
For recreation and exercise, right? Or for fighting skill,
That is amazing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are people, you know,
That's a great way of applying it. I mean, that's...
well, yeah,
That's- yeah.
and if let's say, right, let's say you needed permission
Right.
from Bruce Lee to train Kali. My permission comes from Enter the Dragon.
That's right.
Right? I don't think his double stick
Was
right.
accidental.
And he sets
Yes,
up
and
like
he
that,
sets
right?
it up,
Okay,
yeah.
right, and
Thanks for the likes. I think that's Romy. Romario, what's up, man?
okay, and he does do a high wing block and what have you. So to me, it's like if somebody says to me, "Oh, well, Bruce Lee, Bruce wasn't in the," I go, "Look, I saw him do it in Enter the Dragon, and I copied."
That's it. That's it. That's
right?
it.
And I copied. So, but again, we were talking about attributes.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so for sheer physical endurance, cardiovascular endurance, right? Burpees and Muay Thai.
Yeah. Burpees will kill you.
Right? Burpees and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Okay? Right? For high levels of coordination, Kali.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? The weave-in patterns of double stick and what have you.
Yeah.
Right? The weave-in patterns of single stick.
Uh-huh.
Right? Knife fighting, speed developed through knife fighting, and then just drop all of that and apply it to this.
Yeah.
Right? Take 4 count in double stick. High, 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 high. Right? Turn that into 4 count in kickboxing. Punch, punch, kick, kick. Right? So I go punch, high, high, kick, high, high, because I'm showing off and I'm flexible and young. Right? High, low, high, low.
Right.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? See, look, this is I don't have any scientific evidence for this, but I believe that the art of Kali, specifically the double stick portion,
Right.
right, where how do they say the right side of the brain controls the left side, and then the left side of the brain controls the right side, or something like that.
Something
right?
like that.
I think when you do these things, I think it keeps building stuff in your brain.
I didn't even think of that.
Right, that can stave off as you get older.
Because you're constantly trying to balance it and understand everything that's going on
right?
at the same time.
So I take it a step further, right? And I know on one of my YouTube videos, you know, there's a detractor who says, "Oh, he's just taking the stick fighting," and I'm thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's exactly
right?
what's going on.
Because that's how that helps me to build curriculum.
Right.
You see, and but we've talked about it before. If you want to have a successful school, how the hell can you go in and go, you know what, I'm going to have a successful school, but we're not going to have techniques, and we're not going to have a curriculum. We're just going to do whatever it is that we feel like doing, whenever it is that we feel like doing it.
Yeah.
That works for you.
Yeah, it doesn't work for everybody
Right?
who's just starting.
Yeah, you know, if I decide, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to the park to work out, and I'm going to do TRX stuff.
Right.
Right? Okay, that's fine for me.
Right.
But if I have a client, right, if I'm a personal trainer, weightlifting personal trainer or whatever, I can't really say that, okay, well, today we're doing this, and then, you know, maybe we'll do it again, you know, in another 6 weeks or whatever. Right? No. And this idea that Jeet Kune Do,
Guys, hit the like, share this, share this, share this.
this idea that Jeet Kune Do defies organization.
Right.
Ever seen Bruce Lee's notes? Good God.
It's super organized.
Come on.
It's categorized,
Come
organized,
on.
everything.
Right?
Everything.
Okay, if you go through, look, John Little
yeah.
did the world such
Yeah,
a
he did.
huge favor.
Yeah.
Right? I forget which volume it is, but there is stuff in there, Bruce Lee's written lesson plans.
Yeah.
Okay? It was like, I remember once, when I started being more vocal about my approach.
All right.
I remember once, there was a guy in Italy who sent me an email. He goes, "You're such a jackass," right? He goes, you can never make a living teaching Jeet Kune Do." And I was just thinking, right? And then somebody else said, "Well, you know, you can't teach it to kids." And I thought, you ever seen a picture of Bruce Lee training Brandon Lee?
Yep.
There's my permission.
That's it right there.
Okay?
Right there.
Right?
Exactly.
Because if somehow in his brilliance, see, all I'm trying to do, right, is to be half as brilliant as Bruce Lee was.
Yeah.
Right? So if I see a picture of Bruce Lee, right, trying to teach Brandon something as an infant, right, and then obviously, you know, as years progress, you could see he kept training him,
Mm-hmm.
then it's my duty to spray in my brain and try to come up with a way, right, to teach kids.
Yeah.
And if the karate and taekwondo people are out there teaching kids, how dare we say our stuff is not good enough?
Yeah.
Right? They're better than we are. They can do something that we can't do. What?
Yeah.
Taekwondo people can teach kids, but Jeet Kune Do people, no, we are somehow lost.
We can't
and
do it.
We can't come up with a way, right, to teach our art to the younger generation.
Yeah.
No, that's bogus.
Yeah.
That's bogus. I don't agree with that at all.
No.
Right? And so if you're going to be any good, if you're going to be of any use to anybody in the world, if you're going to be of service to people in the world, then you owe it to yourself to develop yourself to your highest the highest degree possible. Why are we having this conversation right now? Because of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Because of Bruce Lee's your desire to elevate himself, right, to the highest level possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're having this conversation.
Yep.
If he had never done that, you and I wouldn't be talking.
100%.
Right? That's the example. And you know what's funny about that? What's funny about that is that so many other people lay claim to Bruce Lee.
Right, they do.
The UFC
Yes, I was
lays
just gonna
claim to
mention
Bruce
that.
Lee.
Yeah, the
right?
father of MMA.
I think, right? I think, doesn't Conor McGregor... Look, I listened to Joe Rogan one time,
Yeah.
right? And he's watching...
Joe Rogan's, I think, got a poster of Bruce Lee in his thing.
Well, he wears...
Well, a bunch of people do.
Yeah, he wears... and sometimes he wears the Jeet Kune Do shirt and whatever, right?
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
But he's watching. He's with his friend Joey Diaz,
Uh-huh.
right? They're doing a breakdown of the fight scene between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, right? Now, of course, they have limited information. It's okay.
It's okay.
But hats off to them because they're very impressed. And Joe Rogan says something. He says something, it was very interesting. I compliment him on this. He said, Bruce Lee may not have competed, but it's obvious that he sparred a lot, right? And he got that from watching the fight with Chuck Norris. And then there's the sequence in which Bruce Lee probes with the rear leg oblique kick, right?
Yeah.
And you hear Joe Rogan say, oblique kick, John Jones style, right? Okay, so right?
Or maybe it's Bruce Lee style.
Well, this is right. This is what I'm saying. So many people lay claim to Bruce Lee, except for us.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. We are not out there talking about how influential Bruce Lee has been to us.
And you're talking about the JKD
Right?
community in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, we have these silly little arguments, right? Between different factions, right? I mean, which is that's what happens in Game of Thrones, right? Isn't Game of Thrones
I don't know, probably.
I don't know either, right?
Sure.
But you know, I mean, that's kind. I guess that's like a common human trait, right?
Yeah.
Where the different factions of, I mean, it probably goes all the way back to the Bible, you know, with Cain and Abel and whatever. If you misunderstand those stories, right? Okay, because you know what those stories really are, right? Okay, no, this has nothing to do with.
This has nothing to do with JKD.
Okay, all right. Have you ever noticed?
It all has to do with JKD.
Have you ever noticed how all these, well, not all, but a lot of these stories in the Bible, right, that have to do with this brother and that brother, there's always a dual element. Have you ever noticed that? It's Cain and Abel. It's Adam and Eve, right? It's I'm failing now in my biblical studies, but it's Jacob and Esau.
Right.
Right. There's the prodigal son thing. There's the son that stayed at home with the father. There's the prodigal that went out and whatever. Right. You know what all that is? Inner you and outer you.
Yes.
That's what those stories are. Right. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't believe in the Bible and shouldn't be Christian or Catholic or whatever it is that they want to be, right? More power to you, whatever it is that gives your life meaning, right? I'm just saying there's another way of looking at all of that.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the way that connects to Jeet Kune for me is this. They said to Bruce Lee, what's the difference between hard style Kung Fu and soft style Kung Fu? And Bruce Lee said, not two. Right?
Yeah.
As in, it's not hard by itself
Or
soft by itself.
Yeah.
It's the blend of the two.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about that, right? In Kali, there's the inward strike, there's the backhand strike. Right?
Yeah.
And then there's this thing in the middle, which could be the overhead.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Right? So that's hard and soft mixed together to create, you know, a thing. It's like male and female, right? Male and female are not opposites of each other. They're the complementary halves of the whole. Right?
Exactly.
You see?
Yeah.
Because if we talk about human beings, in order for human beings to produce another human being, the natural way, you need male and female.
Correct. Yep.
You see? So you have male, female, and then when they blend together, they produce.
Correct,
Right? So
yeah.
inward backhand, the overhead.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is what? The symbol of the Trinity.
Yeah.
You see?
Wow.
Yeah, right? See, so through the study of Jeet Kune, and this is going to get me in trouble, right?
That's what we want.
Yeah, this is
Share
gonna be
this,
trouble.
guys. Share it now.
This got me in trouble, but it's okay. When I use the term Jeet
Great
Kune,
interview. Thanks, Alfred.
right? When I use the term Jeet Kune, I am not referring to what you saw Bruce Lee do on film. I am not referring to the lead punch.
Right.
I am not referring to that emphasis of lead, you know, whatever. Jeet Kune for me goes way beyond all that. All that stuff is Jun Fan. It's Jun Fan kickboxing.
Right.
It's Jun Fan Kung Fu.
Right.
Right? And like I was telling you earlier, we start with that which is familiar and therefore easier for most people. It's easier for most people to learn to kick and punch than it is to learn trapping and grappling.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now,
Someone just said there's trapping in the UFC.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but again, this is just my breakdown, right?
Yeah.
I think that the world, right, and definitely a lot of us in JKD owe Paul Vunak a huge debt, right, for emphasizing trapping.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But the thing about it is that trapping, Wing Chun method, Jun Fan method, Kali method, because what we call the checking hand or the alive hand, right? So look at that, right? We were talking about this. We were talking about this last night, right? About a connection between Kali and Wing Chun, for example, right? So Wing Chun has Bong Sao, which some people call the wing hand.
Yeah.
But that's the same shape that when we do the wing block with the stick in Kali, right?
Exactly.
So the hand shape is the same.
Same.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Right? You know, right? So it's kind of like, well, I mean, they have this serendipitous commonality, so
Right.
I'm just gonna play with that.
Yeah.
Right? They got double sword, right? We got double stick and double sword. They got the butterfly knife, and we got the butterfly knife too, right? So what's the deal?
Yeah.
Right? So if you can do that between Wing Chun and Kali, well then you start looking at how you can use Wing Chun in your jiu-jitsu. Right? See, because this is the thing, right? And again, this is framework.
Using Wing Chun in your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right? Framework and proprietary language.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's a thing called the 3 stages of combat. Entry, follow-up, finish. Right? So, you could look at that this way. This is one way of looking at it, right?
Okay.
This is one way of looking at it. You can go, okay, I use boxing for the entry. I use Wing Chun, right, for the, well, no, not Wing Chun. I should explain this to you. There's 3 or 4 stages of combat, right? So there's entry, follow-up, finish. So if my entry is a jab, bang, I'm successful, right? Follow-up, cross, bang, I'm successful. Finish, hook, bang, I'm successful. But if the jab fails, we are now at midpoint.
Yes.
You see?
Gotcha.
And a lot of times midpoint involves bridge contact.
Right.
And when we have bridge contact, I can go to trapping. You see? So I can use boxing, right, let's say, and then if something happens, I use Wing Chun.
Right.
And then right after the Wing Chun, I use a grappling finish and hold or finish and move.
Yeah.
Right? So you could look at it that way. Or you could say, well, I'm going to do it by art. I'm not going to do it by skill. So I'm going to use a savate entry, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to use a Western boxing follow-up,
right?
Right? And then I'm going to use a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whatever, right? I mean, so there's more, and just for fun.
So you can follow the principles of training and just kind of plug and play. It's almost like a formula.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's scientific. It's like scientific street fighting.
Right? Of course.
Thanks for the likes, guys. Keep liking, keep sharing.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't escape formulas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the greatest knowledge in the world, right, comes out of scientific formulas. So why have this idea that JKD is against all that?
Yeah. No
right.
way.
You know, I remember in the early days. I don't want to say I was told, because I don't want to, maybe it wasn't that way. Maybe it's just, I just got the idea myself.
Right. Absorbed it.
That whatever it is that Taekwondo people were doing, we shouldn't do. Right?
Gotcha.
So if they were organizing their curriculum, we shouldn't
do it. Yeah.
They're using belts, we shouldn't use belts.
That was the rebellious
right?
aspect.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the thing. The honesty factor kicks in. When you see the Taekwondo guy driving...
Thanks, Andre. He says awesome insight. we try.
When you see the Taekwondo guy driving the new Mercedes, and you have a 5-year-old Honda Accord, and you wish you had a new Mercedes, right? Now you got to be honest with yourself. So that honesty with yourself could lead you to sell out, right? Or it could lead you down the more difficult path,
right?
Which is to do what it is that needs to be done for improved commercial success, but maintain the integrity of Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So, and this is just
You have
for
that
me.
choice to make.
This is just for me.
Yeah.
So I have never awarded anybody a black belt in Jeet Kune Do.
Right. Yeah.
That's just me.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
If that works for somebody else,
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, the Kung Fu people had to modify for commercial success.
It's true.
They didn't start out with the white sash and the yellow sash and the,
But you know, all that is just a symbol. That's what I liked about the shirts, changing a shirt or changing, because all it is. So even if rank doesn't matter, I've looked at all the belt things that they've done in Taekwondo or Karate. It's just a symbol of progression. So what people want to know is, am I progressing, or am I just kind of sporadically doing stuff?
And what's wrong? What's wrong with people having? What's wrong with people being recognized and rewarded for their hard work and effort?
Yeah, nothing.
Right. But see, so again, the people who run schools who are wondering, how do I keep students? Right? Well, here's the thing. It's a cliche, right? But it's said that people don't care how much you know, right? Until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
So one of the things you have to make sure that you impart to your students is that you care about them.
Yeah.
You care about their development.
Yeah.
Right? Now that doesn't mean you have to become best friends with them or whatever, but you have to do what you can to make sure that they know.
Yeah.
Well, one way of showing people that you're interested in their development is having an organized curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
100%.
right? Back in the days when I was spending time in NAPMA in its first iteration with John Graydon
Right.
and Rob Colasanti, and then later on with Stephen Oliver.
Uh-huh.
That's when I learned about Black Belt Club. Right?
Yeah.
Can't use that.
No, because it's not.
Can't use that.
Can't.
Right? But can I use the principle of that? Can I use the idea of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phase 4 club.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a lot of times we have to just look past and look at what the meaning actually is. It's not just everything at face value, right?
Right. Because what? Look.
But that's something very JKD-ish.
Any answer that you get on the surface is not the real answer.
Exactly.
It's not the only answer.
Right.
You got to dive deep.
Yeah.
Right. When you and I first started talking about marketing and what have you, if you never what's the participle? Dove deep. Right. If you'd have never dived deep, right, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. If it was just and then it's that whole it's that other cliche about teaching a man to fish versus giving him the fish.
Yeah.
JKD is all and this is an inherent or built-in limitation so to Jeet Kune Do, because a lot of times you end up teaching people how to go into competition with you.
Right.
Because we give so much. There's not this holding back thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So that sometimes is an aspect that that's something you can learn from the Taekwondo people, from the more established people, how to build your empire.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with building a JKD empire. And actually, if you think about it, some JKD guys have done that. They wouldn't use the term empire, and I wouldn't use the term empire. But Sifu Dan himself has his instructor association.
Yep.
Right. Cass has his instructor association. Burton Richardson has done a good job with that. Rich Fay has done a good job with
if you're not if you're not actually actively trying to grow, for anybody who's actually got their own school or their own club, I mean, if you're really trying to spread Jeet Kune Do, wouldn't it be better if you could just do it full time, and then just instead of teaching only 5 people, maybe you were able to teach 10 people and 20 people? I mean,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's the reason the page was started, because I realized instead of just owning a martial arts school, I used to have a martial arts school in Jacksonville, Florida. I think it was Jose who's in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I used to have a school right there where you are, but I realized I could reach far more people. I think we've got 25,000 people who follow us right here on the Jeet Kune Do page. And in an instant, we can get messages out to literally thousands of people.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, because there's so many other martial arts who've literally just kind of dominated the mainstream.
Right.
But I think we can dominate it without selling out. I think we can grow and still keep the principles, still keep the technique, and just show that it is possible. You don't have to sell out to be a Taekwondo school, but you're a JKD school at heart, but Taekwondo is working now. There's nothing wrong with Taekwondo, but we've got everything we need here. I mean, Bruce Lee himself had thousands of books, maybe not thousands, but at least hundreds of books on personal development, on sales, on business, on marketing, and he did it because he wanted to grow.
It was thousands because the whole library was supposed to consist of over 2,000 books. Right?
It's huge. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he really got into movies to spread JKD. He wanted the principles to grow.
My theory, my understanding and my theory on it is that the idea of spreading the art one new student at a time. Right? He wasn't down with that.
No.
And so it became, if I do a movie, all right, and I inject certain lessons into this movie, I'll reach millions.
Exactly.
Bang.
Just like that.
Yeah.
It's like what we're doing now, except I think Bruce Lee would have been like a social media god in today's world, because
I think he would have had a social media manager. I don't know that he would be like.
Well, he may not be the.
I don't know. He'd be tweeting.
But he would be using it. He would be using it because it's, if you're trying to get JKD out.
It's fun to imagine what Bruce.
What he would have done, right?
You know, yeah. I mean, I don't think Dan Inosanto tweets.
No.
I got a text message from him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm so
proud of that. Right. I got a phone call. Oh, I tell you.
Hey, Kevin Siemens says Seafood Dwight is one of my favorite people. Great.
Thanks, Kevin. I got a phone call. This was a number of years ago, right? So I look at the caller ID because it was during office hours, right? The caller, and it says Dan Inosanto or Inosanto Academy, right? So so
who picked that up?
Right? He goes, Dwight! He goes, you'll never guess who's at my school. I go, no, Sifu, I'll never guess. He goes, he's famous. I go, okay. He goes, yeah, we're training him double sword and sword and dagger for his new movie. He's famous. I go, okay. He goes, yeah, he's got the same initials as you. I go, DW? He goes, yeah. I go, Denzel Washington? He goes, yeah!
Wow.
We're training him for his new movie, Book of Eli.
Wow, I remember that.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I go, that's real good. I go, look, you tell Denzel Washington that he's not the first DW to train with you, it's me!
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's another thing, right? That's another thing. I answered a question the other day about John Wick's style.
Yes.
Right? Somebody sent a question to me about what's John Wick's martial arts style. And other people had answered the question and said, I remember one in particular said, it's a combination of judo and karate and something. And I thought, okay, I could let that go.
Yeah.
Or, right? And this, I mean, you've known me for a long time, and you know that I have a somewhat different approach to dealing with things.
Yeah,
right?
You won't let that one go.
So, my answer was something like this. You just have to take a look at the names of the people involved in the making of the movie, and you'll get a better idea.
Exactly.
Chad Stahelski directed both films. David Leitch co-directed John Wick 1. Jonathan Eusebio was a fight coordinator for both films.
Wow.
What do these three people have in common? They were all students/instructors at the Inosanto Academy in Marina del Rey, California, home of the world-famous Dan Inosanto, protege of Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune.
Yeah.
So, what you're seeing on screen, right, is cinematic, whatever. And then I mentioned, the Russian sambo, right, the catch wrestling, because all three of them also trained with Eric Paulson.
Oh wow!
Right in CSW, you see,
so they got all
shoot
right.
with Yuri, through Eric passed on from Yuri and what have you, right? So there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in there. There's the thing they call their thing gun fu, right? Because then there's the tactical handgun stuff and whatever. But it's not judo and karate,
right?
And it's not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. No. Right? Not
it's
at all.
It's like cinematic JKD.
But when I talk like that, I get myself in trouble because people go, insecure people. They go, "Oh, who does he think he is? He thinks he knows so much."
Yeah.
No, I don't know much. I sit.
Hey, so
have you ever been to the movies with me?
Yes, you sit with a notepad.
Right?
Yeah.
When the credits roll, Do I get up and walk out? No.
Stay to see who drew
Information, man.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
You see, now, you don't have to do that anymore because there's the Internet Movie Database.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I research the movie before I go watch it. I don't care about spoilers and whatever, right? Knowing what's going to happen just enables me to look for it. I am so stupid that when I'm watching the movie, I sit forward in my chair, right? Thinking that I'll see it better.
Yeah.
Right? I'll see where they make a mistake or something, right?
Got it.
Yeah. Because this idea of going to the movies to escape. You ever heard people say that?
Yes.
What the hell is that? How are you going to escape? 2 hours later, when you come out of the cinema, you're back in your life.
That's it. You're not escaping.
So what is this idea of escape?
Yeah.
Nah, man, come on.
So we're actually about to wrap up this initial broadcast. Guys, if you like this, please shoot some likes, some hearts, share it out to as many people as you can. We're going to be doing another broadcast maybe the next couple weeks or something. Yeah. We'll see. We're going to push this out to some more people. So, Sifu, how can people, if you're in Miami, how can people actually come train with you?
Best thing to do is send me an email, because I'm old school. Send an email to umaaoffice@aol.com. Or if you're more new school, text me at, no.
We'll stick with the email.
Yeah. Send an email to umaaoffice@aol.com. Or go to unifiedmartialart.com and click on Contact Us. Because then I think you can find a phone number there. Yeah, I think that's where the mobile number is. Or you can use that form. Yeah, so if you're in Miami and, and if you're not in Miami and, you'd ever want to interact with me on a personal basis, that's something that can be arranged also. That's one of the directions. You asked what's next. That's one of the directions that we're going in. But, it's been a long time coming, but JKD is my life, and so for the remaining years, this is what I'm going to be doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you need to get a hold of them, go to unifiedmartialart.com or go to AOL. Or you can email them, umaaoffice@aol.com.
Old school.
Old school. Thank you so much, Sifu. I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Make sure you share this out. See you